Hey, what's going on? Happy Monday to you. This is Lunch with Claibs and Joe, powered by Ameren, Illinois, driven by Munganast St. Louis Acura, and also sponsored by the HomeLoanExpert.com, the mountain climber, Ryan Kelly. I am Joe Roderick. He is Mike Claiborne. Claibs, you are up in Chicago getting ready for a whole lot of baseball this week. It is round two of the Cardinals making up games from the beginning of the season that they missed that first week. As what is it, 4 or 5 games that you have up in Wrigley this
we
week
have
now?
5 and 4 days.
Yeah,
5 and 4
usually
days. Doubleheader tomorrow.
I remember a time when, these end of the season 5-game series in Chicago, I mean, they seem to happen every year, and you would seem to look at it and go, God, what's going to happen? It's going to be a disaster. But something about this Cardinal team this year, you don't get that sense. You just feel like they're going to keep on rolling.
Well, they've certainly shown that against teams like Arizona, Colorado, Yankees. I mean, they've been on a good run. But, this will be an interesting test because, A, it's the Cubs. B, they're playing well. They're playing much better. I don't know if they have enough pitching, but they've got an interesting offense. They're a little bit better defensively, and they've got a little momentum going. I think they've won 6 in a row, and they beat Milwaukee. They had won 6 in a row until yesterday. Yeah. In Milwaukee, they took 2 or 3 against them. And that's not to say Milwaukee is on fire right now, but they're playing with a little fire. And I think anytime these two teams meet, as they say, throw the records out of the window, we're going to have some pretty good baseball over the next 4 days.
And you know what? I mean, this is a team, we saw them here in Chicago at the trade deadline, and they didn't make any moves. They did not ship out the guys that you expected them to that would have made them a lot worse in Wilson Contreras and Ian Happ. So they still have that firepower in the lineup that you were kind of hoping by this 5-game series rolled around, they'd be just trotting out some AAA guys.
Yeah, no, that's a good point you make. I think everyone thought by now they'd be left for dead, but they still got some fight in them. When you think about Contreras and Happ, I think Nico Horner is the best player on their team. Wisdom hurt his finger the other day, so I don't know what his availability is going to be like. And they've gotten some other good play out of some other guys. I think the key was the fact that Schwindel's been hurt most of the year with a back, because I really like what I saw out of him last year. That's been an iffy position for them because they played a number of different people there. But overall, I think it still goes back to the pitching. Stroman has been, Hendrick is out. Drew Smiley, the Cardinals are going to see him in the series. Lefty, he gives Albert problems. So, it's going to be one of those where you better get out on these guys early, and they still have a lot of fight left. Again, it's going to come down to their bullpen and what they can do out of that.
Just quickly here, Marcus Stroman this year for the Cubs, 3-5 record, 17 starts with a 3.83 ERA. So nothing earth-shattering. Nothing. No kind of all-star performance out of Marcus Stroman, who I believe wanted to be a Cardinal this offseason. He was kind of pitching for the Cardinals to sign him. And yeah, you had said that on the show that you wanted them to pass up on him, and they did. And I think, it's not a move that you're looking at. And, it's not like a Max Scherzer thing where you look at him and go, God, they had another opportunity to get him, and look at him now. This is one of those where it's like, okay, you know what? I don't know if he would have helped you, hurt you. He just would have been another guy in the rotation this year. When then you look at what Montgomery and Quintana have been doing their first 3-4 starts with the team, and you're going, all right, the scouting department with the Cardinals is doing a damn good job.
They have, and they do deserve some credit in finding guys who fit this team. And I think that's more important than anything else, fitting this team and what their role would be. And when you look at what Montgomery's done in that third spot in the rotation, Quintana has been solid. Yesterday he got touched up a little bit, but I expect that to happen from time to time. Overall, they've been able to find some good secondary adjustment players that have been able to keep them in contention and certainly move them into a better spot with respect to playoff opportunities.
And we're going to see, as you mentioned, Drew Smiley tonight, a lefty against Jordan Montgomery, another lefty. And then you were saying earlier, I just actually tweeted it out. We should see another left-hander on the mound for the Cardinals tomorrow.
Well, Matthew Liberatore is in Chicago. And I know he's not here shopping for Christmas presents, so I would assume he's going to pitch while he's here. So We'll see how that unfolds. And, this is going to be one good look at him before they have to make a roster decision for September. Is he done enough to warrant one of those spots as far as the two additions for post-September? So this would be a good opportunity for him. He's pitched here before, so he shouldn't be intimidated by what's going on in being at Wrigley Field. And we don't know what kind of crowds we're going to have, considering these games in the middle of the week or the early portion of the week. So it'll be a good test for him. And he's pitched reasonably well. I talked to his manager recently. He said he's been much better, has a little bit more command of the strike zone. So we'll see if he can translate that over to something in the big league level.
And tomorrow is a doubleheader making up from that first week of the season. So the Cardinals do get a 27th man on the roster, and they don't have to use one of his options. They can just start him in one of those games or have him in the bullpen for both games, and nothing hurts any way possible. So, and you still have, Palante available later this week. I don't know if he'd be available to start on Tuesday if needed, or how that would work. But
you know what? I think what you're going to have is Liberatore's got to give you 5, okay? And then you turn it over to the bullpen, because you're not going to burn up a bullpen tonight. You have a reasonably rested bullpen. They weren't overworked in Arizona very much. So I think what you can do is have him go at least 5, see how the flow is, and you've got some options. Packy Naughton hasn't pitched in a bit. You might want to come back with Cabrera, but I think it's a start that you can't use more than 3 guys, because you have another game in the doubleheader.
Is Helsley back in Chicago?
He should be back. He should be back for this series as well. He went out on Friday, so it's a 3-day paternity leave. So he was out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So he should be back today as well.
And then Yachty, what's the deal with him?
Yachty is expected to be in the lineup today. I have not seen him, but I got a good feeling he got in last night.
Okay, so a lot of roster moves expected this week in Chicago with the 5 games against the Cubs, and still plenty to go around. Ryan Helsley, congratulations to him. His wife gave birth over the weekend. So what do you? I mean, you have that. You've seen this before, Claibs. Guys have a kid, middle of the season, end of the season. What kind of changes do you see in players when that happens during the year?
Well, fortunately, he's on the road, so he can get some sleep. You know what it's like to bring a newborn home. And so I think in this situation, he will get back to his routine, look forward to getting home and just getting used to that setup. Everybody deals with that differently with regard to having a kid, and how much does the wife have involvement? How much do you have involvement? Making sure you're still getting your rest. I mean, it's anytime you have, as they used to say, 9 months of pain, 20 years of hope, there's a lot of things that go into it. So it's something that he's going to have to get used to, like everybody else who does it. And I don't think it's going to be that big of an adjustment.
I got lucky when we had Hudson, because a cell phone salesman bought our radio station and fired all of us about 5 days before he was born. So I had a month off right after he was born, before I had to go back and start working at 9:20. So it worked out for the best. and then I also
don't want to live your life that way, though.
And then I also didn't work at 1380 The Woman either. So that's a few different things
move
worked
on
out.
Your part.
Yeah.
That one will go down in history as well, the all-time debacles.
I don't know if did you see Zach Ertz of the Arizona Cardinals? Just his wife just had a baby, and he got off, and I saw he's off for the rest of training camp now, and I saw Chris Long on his podcast. They were talking about it, and whoever the guest was saying, like, man, that's not fair and everything. Chris Long was like, man, Zach Ertz is a genius. If he planned it that way, to have a kid second week of training camp, like, he's the smartest football player that ever lived.
How does a guy get off on the rest of training camp?
It's only
a kid.
It's only 2 more weeks. I mean,
but okay.
Hey, paternity, Claibs. I mean, your kids are in their 20s now. I mean, paternity leave's a whole new thing these days.
Yeah, I guess it is. But
I mean,
he's a veteran too, so he should know what he's doing.
You just had those 82 guys in last week. I mean, how many of them got days off when they're when they had kids during the season?
No, I was in the CBA. Yeah, you always got time off. Yeah, so that's been one that's been in there for a while.
See, so it's been happening. It's
yeah,
okay.
But I mean, 3 days compared to 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
I know some places you can get 8 weeks. So, I
Hmm.
mean, I guess it just depends on what profession you're in.
Yeah, just hey, don't hurt yourself. Just come back, be ready for the season. Hey, the Cardinal. By the way, so Cardinals this past weekend in Arizona. We haven't even touched on any of the games yet. You were not with the team in Arizona. When you look at the game that was played on Saturday night, is that one that you kind of missed that you weren't on the call for, or are you happy that you didn't have to deal with all that craziness? Like, where as a broadcaster, you watch that game from your home. How are you watching that?
Well, you know what? Ironically, I watched it from a train as I was making my way to Chicago. Uh, it was an exciting game, but we've seen a lot of those lately. And I think anytime Albert hits a home run, there's history involved. But I thought also the way they just poured it on in that, was it the eighth inning or the
Yeah.
ninth inning?
Jordan Hicks
I
came
mean,
out and just had a complete meltdown, and then the team
yeah,
came out and scored 8 runs in the top. Like, no, they scored 8 in the top of the ninth. That was the top of the
yeah,
ninth, and they scored
exactly.
8. Yeah.
So, from that standpoint, it was entertaining because everybody's getting in on the fun. Even Paul DeYoung, who'd been struggling, hits a grand slam. So, when you get everybody contributing, that makes it an even more fun game. So yeah, I wish I would have been part of that. But you know what? I get the feeling that there'll be some more games down the road that will have as much impact, if not more, that I will certainly be part of.
I called it with Rammer last week. I think Albert has one more 3 home run game left in him.
Hmm.
One more. I mean, you know what? First 2 at bats on Saturday, I thought it was happening. I thought we were going to. Thought we were going
Yeah.
to see it there, and
Yeah.
he. I mean, that single he hit. I'm surprised that didn't just stick in the wall.
I agree. Did you see the ball that was stuck in the wall this weekend
I
in a minor league
did.
game?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
I think
mean,
that was
but you
down.
know
It was
what?
at Toronto Stadium. That's when like the Blue
Down in
Jays played
Dunedin.
at. Yeah.
Yeah, down in Dunedin. I got to tell you though, you're right, because after the fourth inning, you're saying to yourself, well, this could happen. And Bumgarner. By the way, for all those who thought Bumgarner was a good idea to acquire, aren't you happy that he's not part of this? Because he's throwing slop up there, man, and they're
Hmm.
just wearing him out, man. He is nothing close to what he used to be. And the big, rough, tough, grizzly approach that he has doesn't scare anybody. These
Hmm.
guys, when you're in trouble, when you look over the on deck circle, and it's like three guys standing on deck circle, hoping to get in their bat before you get out of the game. That's kind of way it was looking that night for him.
I get that now with the kids that I coach. The
Yeah.
number 8 hitter
So
in the lineup
please
has
don't
his
take him
helmet
out.
on.
Yeah.
And I
Please
go,
don't
what do you?
take
I
him
go, what
out.
are you doing with your helmet on? I go, you're up 8th, and he's like, I don't know. He goes, I kind of hope I get to hit this inning.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. That's what it looked like on Saturday.
But so I mean, so he goes up there, he goes 4 for 4, hits the hell out of the ball, and then in that ninth inning, Ali goes to the bench, pinch hits for Albert. And I mean, if there were 32,000 fans there in Arizona, 25,000 of them were St. Louis Cardinal
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah. You're
And,
right.
and I mean, Nolan Gorman comes up for his first ever at bat in Phoenix, where he grows up, has a huge section of friends and family there, and he gets booed
Yeah,
coming
but he
up.
got the base hit, which was good. So he got his out of it. But it comes with the territory. I mean, this is epic times that we live in as far as Albert's greatness. And I always remind people, better take a look at this guy, because I'm not sure who the next one's going to be,
I'm,
and what he's meant to the game and certainly to the Cardinals. He's had more fun in this one season with the Cardinals. I think that he had to have it all the time he was with the Angels, because they were
and
never in it.
in that move by in the ninth inning by Ali, I mean, this is a rookie manager that is having to balance something as important as, okay, like Gorman gets a hit here, we pretty much get the runs to secure the win, or I have a historic moment on my hands of having this guy that's chasing 700 home runs and like trying to balance that out. I mean, that's a lot of back and forth between him and Skip on the bench.
Yeah. Well, think about the game in St. Louis where pitcher came out early and he pinch hit Donovan in the third inning, and then Albert was able to hit 2 home runs in that game. So I mean, it's one of those things where he's pushing the right buttons, and that's interesting. As a rookie manager, he hasn't been caught too many times without being in a good position to succeed. Now, sometimes you may not execute, but 95% of the time, you can understand how he and why he did what he did. He normally has the numbers to back it up. And one of the things I think that you have to give him credit for, he knows his team. Okay, he knows his team statistically. He knows his team from a field standpoint, and he still, trusts his gut sometimes to protect his butt. And I've had a good time watching him work. He's been fun, and this comes from a guy who, in Mike Schilt, was pretty much the same guy. The fact that he made some interesting moves in certain times of games also. Before a rookie manager to do it, I just think it says volumes about how prepared he is and his staff. He's got a tremendous staff. You start with Skip and you work your way around that room, and all those guys have provided something that has been a huge contributing factor. And I think the one guy who probably doesn't get as much credit, Turtle Ward, the assistant hitting coach. I mean, he worked with Goldie out in Arizona, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Goldie is having one of the best years he's ever had. Now that he and Turner Ward on the same page about some things.
You mentioned earlier we're never going to see what we're seeing out of Albert again, and this is something I said to my son when we were sitting there. We watched the 2 home runs on Saturday, and I told him, like, look, this is a guy. He is 8 away from 700. I said, I'm never going to see 700 again. You might never. And looking at it, right now in the game of baseball, I guess Pete Alonso's the only hope that you have to get 600 home runs in a career.
I don't even know if that's going to happen, because I don't know if guys will play that long.
And that's exactly.
Think about the money, the time they take off. You look at guys like Albert. You can go back to Barry Bonds. You can look at some other guys. They played every day. And they stayed around. But now the money is so big, guys. A, teams don't want to pay them, and B, guys don't want to play that long. So I'm not sure if we'll see that again. It's almost like with Cal Ripken. We'll never see a guy play that many games in a row, like we saw with Ripken. And I think there are a handful of records I think are fairly safe. I think getting to 700 is going to be one of them.
Yeah, that's. I said 600 for Alonso. He's on pace right now easily to get to 500, but you're talking 600.
How many years does he have to play?
He has played 4 seasons, and he is at a pace of 45 home runs a year.
Okay, that'll change.
Yeah, he hit 53 his rookie year. He hit 37 last year. He's already got 30 on the year this year. So he's at 136 for his career. So maybe he can reach 150 by the end of this season. And he's 27 already. So that's the thing too. He didn't get started. His rookie year was when he was 24. Right. So Albert was a rookie when he was
coming out the box, man. You got to do this early in your career to get have any kind of chance.
Yeah, so again, it is something special that we are getting to see out of Albert. 5 games start tonight in Chicago, Cardinals and Cubs. This is your last trip up to Chicago this year, right?
You are correct.
Yeah, so
and then it seems like we come here like 5 times next year, because we're going to play the White Sox here as well.
Yeah. So you'll have that, and it'll be Albert's last trip up to Wrigley. So we'll see what the Cubs roll out for him for the big presentation.
You know what? If they just roll out some left-handed pitching, that'd be all right with me. They don't have to give them any awards, any plaques, any money. Just roll out as many left-handed pitches as you can find.
I don't know how much they have to roll out there, because Steele pitched yesterday. Keegan went on the injured list. So outside of Smiley, I'm not sure what they have left-handed.
Well, I got news for you. I think anybody who's left-handed is probably not going to be volunteering to go out there in the first place.
No.
So we'll
not
see.
Not at this point. This is something special. Hey, this is Lunch with Claibs and Joe here on ClaibsOnline.com. We're powered by Ameren, driven by Munganast St. Louis Acura, and sponsored by the Home Loan Expert. We will take a break and come back with more after this.
My name is Jeremy Seabury. I am one of the owners of Pawford K9.
Marcus Galmore, co-owner of Pawford K9.
What makes us different from other dog companies is there is no breed left behind. We stand by that 120%. We specialize in aggressive behavior modification. Good. We don't turn away. We bring them in for a free evaluation to see if we can help the dog.
At Papa K9, we focus on the owners, educating the owners.
How do I get this dog to give me the behaviors that I'm asking for without the treats? So that's when me and Marcus come in. We train the dog, so when you take the dog home, you don't need the treats. The dog is doing it because you're asking it to.
After each training package, we go through a series of lessons. We keep going until the owner gets it.
We make sure that they go over the beatings with their dog, and that dog is listening before they leave here, but also we follow up when they get home. Is your pup listening to you here? If it's not, we one phone call away, we'll make a trip. We got the Paw Pick Mobile, where we go out to their homes and make sure their dog is okay.
Hey, on Sunday, August 28th, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home a mystery Hall of Fame car parade bobblehead. Thanks to Ford. Which one will you get, Willie McGee or Jim Edmonds? Find out on Sunday, August 28th. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
That's a night game now. It's a 6 o'clock start. It's an ESPN game. Fiesta Cardinals is also that day as well. So a lot of things going on that day, including a very nice bobblehead giveaway.
And and all weekend long with the Cardinals Hall of Fame this weekend. Matt Holliday in town. So lots of giveaways, lots of festivities, and a lot of Matt Holliday's former teammates also will be here to celebrate his achievement with him as well. So tickets available at cardinals.com. You can find out all of the giveaways / promotions over at cardinals.com. Back in 30 seconds.
St. Louis Acura has an unbeatable selection of new cars arriving daily, like the all-new 2023 Acura Integra. We also have a great selection of over 200 pre-owned and factory precision courtesy vehicles with finance rates as low as 1.9% for 36 months with approved credit. And we've added Saturday service hours to our newly renovated service facility. Don't forget, we'll buy your vehicle here at our dealership or from the convenience of your home. St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you.
All right, Claibs, we've been talking about this past few weeks now, the Live Tour versus the PGA Tour and what's going to come out of it. Last week, when you and I were talking right here on the lunch show, we mentioned that there was a players-only meeting that was so important that Tiger Woods was even flying in for to discuss. So I guess coming out of that, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy leading an effort to create an 18-event PGA Tour circuit, $20 million purses, just some of the other things coming out of this as well. What do you think of the PGA's moves now to try to compete even closer with the Live Tour and stop losing players?
Well, they can't outspend the Live Tour right now. And it kind of makes me wonder, now that they're in emergency mode, where was this money before now? I mean, so maybe somebody was sitting on the money, or maybe they weren't selling it as well as they needed to. We've seen this before. I don't know why people are, the AFL, the WHA, the ABA. I mean, there were all other leagues that came around to challenge the mothership sports, more or less. But for some reason, this has become personal. I don't know whether it's the fact that they weren't offered that sort of money. I don't know whether it was the fact that, these guys have decided they're going to move on. But, both of these sides have interesting scenarios. You look at the Live Tour, most of the guys on that tour are either irrelevant, hurt, or not what you would call household names that you pay close attention to anymore. PGA Tour has a lot of young players, and some of them are unproven. And some of those guys have really kind of found their way to be in a position where they're taking a spot. But when you look at the bottom line, it's about money. And, Liv has decided they want to outspend everyone. So the question is, how long is that going to last? Well, if you're some of these guys and your money's guaranteed, who cares how long it lasts? You're going to make $100 million. You're going to make $150 million. You're going to make more money on this tour than you would ever imagine playing on the PGA Tour. The other challenge that comes into play is, now that guys have their money, how much are they going to play? How much are they going to practice? How much are they going to be committed to the game, knowing that they're going to eat no matter whether they win or whether they play or not? So there's so many underlying factors that come with this, that for the PGA to try and become more unified, I think what they need to do is this. they might want to get a little bit more creative in how they present their game. They've got the TV deals. They've got the marketing setup already going. Liv is obviously going to try and go the digital route, and there may be some hope to that down the road. But I think most people in this country are used to watching events a certain way. And when you start talking about streaming and things of that nature, while it's coming, it's not here yet. So overall, both sides have some work to do in order to garner the golf fan. And I think we just have to wait and see and play this thing out. But I think if the PGA wants to do something to really garner interest, get more creative in the events that you have. I think one of the things with the Live Tour, they have this team golf. I've always felt if you really want to watch some fun golf, have one tournament a month where you play as a team. So Joe Roderick, you hit driver. I'm going to hit the second shot. We'll find somebody else hit the third shot. And guess what? This other guy's going to be our putter for the first 3 holes. You switch it up accordingly along the way. And those points that you gain as far as being on a winning team goes to your FedEx points total. So you reconfigure that as well to make it all worth the while to be involved. And it's a blind draw as far as who your team is going to be. And, we're going to see the best of what you have, because at that point during the tournament, you are going to have to play every shot, whether you're hitting driver, second, third, whatever the case may be. That to me would be more interesting than what we're seeing right now on the tour. And you do it once a month.
There's going to be some very big changes coming to it. And I think right now, the only thing that the Live Tour doesn't have is a TV deal right now. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't rely on the streaming for this, for something that you're going to run 3 days on it and just tell people to sit and watch it on their computers. And I know we have, the smart TVs that you can go and watch something on that way and stream it that way. But, you still would like to have it on a network that is also promoting it too.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that they've got to come up with a creative way. But the problem with that is the PGA is already tied up with the 3 major networks. I think the only one that would have an outside shot would be Fox. And let's face it, Fox has been adventurous before. I mean, if you don't think so, ask the NFL, ask Major League Baseball. Remember, they didn't have anything. They took on the NFL and bumped CBS out of the picture. Mm-hmm. So, it's one of those things now where Fox might be the one you want to go to. Yeah. They got everything set up. And that would be your first outlet. I think you still need to have other outlets as well and be able to pull this off. But I think that I don't think these guys just decided last night, oh, we need a TV deal. I think this is something that's been ongoing. They'll overpay to be on TV, but once they get on, you know what? They'll be right there with the big boys.
Absolutely. Hey, this is Lunch with Claibs and Joe, driven by Munganess St. Louis Acura and powered by Ameren, Illinois. We take a break, come back right after this.
Holiday out to deep right. Yes, yes, yes. He did it in what could be his final plate appearance in St. Louis. An opposite field home run. Unbelievable.
One of the greatest Cardinal moments of the Claibs last 10 years. Where would you put that? Matt Holliday's home
something.
Run. That was absolutely incredible, and a great call there by Danny Mack on it too.
I'll never forget it, because that Sunday I interviewed him. It was the last game of the year, and I had him on the field. And the more he started to talk, the more he started to well up. And at one point, I wouldn't look at him, because I knew if one tear would have dropped, we both would have been balling, because, it was such an emotional time. And Matt did a lot of things for this ball club on and off the field, and very deserving of being a Cardinal Hall of Famer. And I'm looking forward to seeing him this weekend.
And now he has his son in the Orioles system, the #1 overall pick. Hey, another future #1 overall pick, possibly Bronny James. Claibs, as we're waiting to see where he's going to go to college. now, waiting to see him make his commitment for that. And LeBron just signs a 2-year deal. Kind of, he is stuck with and said he's going to play 1 year with his son. He wants to play his final year with his son, and just everything that's going to happen with that now, as far as the trading for that pick. Where does his son go? Is his son worth a number 1 overall pick? And do you want to go draft him just to know you get 1 year of merchandise from a 40-year-old LeBron James in sales and play for that? It's going to be really fascinating to see how that all plays out when Bronny is able to be eligible for the draft in a few years.
Well, I think the first thing we have to ask ourselves, the question is he that good? I mean, you see some highlights, and he seems like he's a pretty accomplished player. But, I mean, you just said first pick overall. I'm not sure if I've ever heard those words mentioned and equated with him.
Not talent-wise, though, and that's the thing. It's not. I think it's very clear.
But I don't think a team can do that. I don't think a team can mortgage 1 year of merchandise on their future if you have a first pick in the draft and you elect to take him because you can get his dad to play with you. I mean, obviously, you taking a pick in the first pick overall because you're not very good. And LeBron at 40, along with a son who might be marginal on the team, is not going to help. So if I'm a team in that position, hey, look, I'm glad he's in the league. Good luck to him, but we're going to get the best player available, and it probably won't be him.
I don't think we'll ever see something like this again. I'm trying to think. I mean, there was.
Well, you saw the Howells in hockey. We've seen the Griffeys in baseball. I don't think we've seen it in football. Basketball, we haven't seen it to my recollection. So, it would be something that, I mean, it's a novelty. I mean, it happens for 1 year. Again, maybe it sells tickets, maybe it doesn't. I think, as you mentioned, the merchandise thing is a good angle to look at. But I think overall, does it make your team any better? And I would say no.
I don't think it will, but I think you'll still see a team go out of their way and mortgage their future.
I'm sure they will be.
Yeah, I mean, all you need is one. All you need is one team that's willing to mortgage that future and trade draft picks to get up to number 1. That's not even like
I don't think he'll beat it. I don't think you have to do that. I think the good teams, they aren't going to take him at a number 1 pick. He might he may not even be a lottery guy. So that's why I think we have to let this play out. The hype certainly is going to be important here, but I think overall, if you're the president or owner of a team, you cannot mortgage your future on one year of a player. Can't do it because you're not that close.
Right. Oh, we will. We got 2 years until we find any of that out. But he'll announce his college here in the next couple weeks or so, and find out where he's going for that. Maybe we'll get a good idea of where or what they want to do as far as.
That's an interesting setup. Picking a college. Normally if Mike Krzyzewski were around, you'd say he's going to Duke because everybody wants to. You think about all the players who said I would have gone to Duke had I not went to the NBA out of high school. But we don't have that. I wonder who is that coach today.
I don't think it's a coach. You see, I mean, Oregon's the leader right now, and I think that has a lot to do with LeBron's ties to Nike.
Well, that's true too, but I still think, and then again, he's going to be one and done wherever he goes. That's if he even, So I mean, it's not a situation that you want to pin your hopes on that too much either. If you're college, you probably say, all right, look, we'll sell a few more tickets in college. We'll do that. We'll get a little hype about it. But you better still be recruiting because he ain't going to be there after next year, after the following year.
We will see. Claibs, what do you got planned for all 5 games up in Chicago this week?
Well, spending a lot of time at Wrigley Field. It's not the most ideal work environment, but it is what it is. And let's try and see if we can get 4 out of 5. If not, try and run the table. This is going to be tough. And I'm going to tell everybody now, the Cubs have been playing well. They're not going to roll over for the Cardinals. They know what's at stake, and the Cardinals have some work to do because it doesn't get any easier because you have the Atlanta Braves coming into town this weekend, and the Braves are starting to figure it out. I think they've come to the conclusion they don't need Marcell Ozuna anymore. So I wouldn't be so. I know Ken Rosenthal felt like maybe he might get released at some point. It was a bad matchup all the way around. And there's a guy that I'm happy that the Cardinals didn't re-sign. But the Braves are a good team. I mean, they got a deep lineup. Their pitching has been solid. They've had a couple of injuries here recently, but they're going to give the Cardinals all they can handle also.
I don't know if you saw John Heyman tweeting out.
He's a clown. I don't even watch him. Whenever I see him, I just turn the channel.
Said best trade of the last decade has to be Sandy Alcantara, Zach Gallen, and Daniel Castano for Magneuris Sierra and Marcell Ozuna. I mean, he's saying that off of one person. He's saying that
because Sierra's not even in the big leagues anymore.
Right. He's saying that because of how good Alcantara is right now. But you can say that. I mean, how many trades can you look at? Ozuna got the Cardinals to the playoffs. He was a good cleanup hitter, but then they realized that wasn't worth the trouble, and they got rid of him.
We can go to the same route. Best trade Arenado for Gomber, Montero. How about Goldschmidt for Carson Kelly and Luke Weaver, who's not even with the team anymore? I mean,
and the Rockies sent $50 million to pay for Arenado. I mean, it's
there's always an ulterior motive in what he says. So that's why I don't put him high on my evaluation list of credible people.
I didn't look at who Alcantara's agent is, but I can probably guess who it might be. Based off of,
he has no credibility with me. So
it was a ridiculous thing that he posted out there, and the fact that Ozuna's still under contract with the Braves right now and hasn't been released, I don't get that at all.
Well, I think they want to let it play out. I think they want to make sure that they give it every legal recourse possible to make sure. But the video did not help his cause at all. So
makes you wonder how many times he's done that and gotten away with it.
Well, he said it like he said it like it was a first language. So, I think that's probably happened before.
Yeah. All right, Claibs, enjoy your time up in Chicago. I know you're probably looking forward to this weekend as well, back here in Chicago Hall of Fame week, or back in St. Louis Hall of Fame weekend, and the Braves in town. I won't be there for any of it. I'm heading out to Utah on Friday. I got a half marathon in Logan, Utah, coming up on Saturday. So
they didn't get flooded, did they?
Not that I know. I mean, it's up high. It's be something if they got flooded up there, but nothing I've heard of. Right. And then college football starts this weekend. I'm going to see Utah State versus UConn on Saturday after the race. So you got some college football games already kicking off this weekend.
And Huddle Up with Howard will be starting up here fairly soon. We want to remind everybody about that. And Dr. Rick, the podcast, is going to premiere here fairly soon also. So we've got a lot of fun things that are going to be coming up. Yep. That we invite everybody to stay tuned for, and working on a few other things for this fall season of activity. So this will still be the place to come. A lot of good opportunities for people in this market. A lot of good websites. We think we do a pretty good job of what we're working on.
Absolutely. He is Mike Claiborne. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been Lunch with Claibs and Joe, powered by Ameren, Illinois, driven by Munganast St. Louis Acura, and sponsored by the HomeLoanExpert.com. We'll talk to you soon.
St. Louis Acura has an unbeatable selection of new cars arriving daily, like the all-new 2023 Acura Integra. We also have a great selection of over 200 pre-owned and factory precision courtesy vehicles with finance rates as low as 1.9% for 36 months with approved credit. And we've added Saturday service hours to our newly renovated service facility. Don't forget, we'll buy your vehicle here at our dealership or from the convenience of your home. St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you.